Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 869, we're going to talk about Kotori, the Pilot Prodigy. Now, this is the vehicle commander I've personally been waiting on. One, a white and a blue, gets us a 2/4 Moonfolk pilot. We all like Moonfolk. I love this. Vehicles you control have crew 2. Regardless of what's printed on them, now you can crew them for 2. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gains lifelink and vigilance till end of turn. So you can soup up one of those with lifelink and vigilance. As usual, we are going to start off with. I really love the way this deck came together. Mana production. We're a little light here, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Sky Diamond and Marble Diamond. The Azora Signet, Cluestone, Locket, Hedron Archive, and Cultivator's Caravan, because it does fit the vehicle theme of the deck. But now, our commander says our vehicles have crew 2. So, we've also got creatures that kind of produce mana, but we can also use them to crew vehicles, like the Etherium Sculptor. It makes our artifacts cheaper, but hey, we can use it to crew with. Same way with the Foundry Inspector. It crews something by itself. Of course, the gold mirror and the silver mirror, not being a lot different from the diamonds, they have sickness instead of coming into play tap, but they can still crew a vehicle. Chief of the Foundry can crew, and that +1/+1 will help your mirror crew as well. The Automated Artificer, same thing. It either taps for mana or you can tap to crew something. The Vedalken Engineer, same thing. I love the way that came together. A little bit of card draw. Of course, we're going to be running a Shram, our lone dwarf in the deck, which I am playing Armed and Armored, simply because they just bam, for one turn. And yeah, choose a dwarf, attach a number of equipment. That's not going to matter to this particular deck, because this is a vehicle deck, it's not an equipment deck. But back to our card draw. Of course, we've got the Mnemonic Sphere. I try to play with as many of these new cards as possible, just to see if they're any good, see if I like them. Concentrate. We all know Harmonize. This is the original card that Harmonize was color shifted from. And then the Reality Heist. Not card draw, technically, but it does put cards in the hand, let you filter a little bit. Some weird stuff like Dramatic Reversal. Now, this is one... technically, this allows a creature to crew twice, because you've got to crew during the main phase, right? Before because the creature already has to be or the vehicle has to be a creature before you move into combat. So you tap your creatures to crew vehicles, and then you can tap them all, Dramatic Reversal, and untap them all, and then crew more if you find that necessary. That's why I kind of put it in here. Swift Recognition. Just Enchanted Permanent is a vehicle artifact with crew 5 and loses all other card types. It's not a creature unless it's crewed. I'm viewing this as a form of removal. There are, like some commanders it won't work on, but the really heavy combat ones, it'll slow them down a little bit. Planar Incision, this is to save one of your artifacts and or creatures. Just instant speed. No, you're not killing that one. Now, it's me. So, March of the Machines. I have had a chance to play against this deck. It did pretty well. But Marching Machines did come down. Ryan did play the march. Now, your vehicles still have all of those abilities that they have, the Menace and the Trample and the First Strike, or whatever they tend to have, but they are just now artifact creatures with power and toughness equal to their casting cost, as opposed to their whatever. Now, before we get into the vehicles, we need people to fly or to crew the vehicles. The Stalwart Pathfinder, I like this one because that the 2 power is what I wanted in these slots, and this had 3. Beginning of combat, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, which is probably easy to do with this deck, creatures you control gain indestructible at end of turn. So I'll have attacking indestructible mech suits, and okay. The Kitsune Ace, I like this because it's 2 power, and then whenever a vehicle you control attacks, that's, if you attack with 3, that's 3 triggers. Aeronaut Admiral, vehicles you control gain flying or have flying. That's crazy to me. I love it. All the way back from Kaladesh, the Gearshift Ace. The new one is Hot Shot Mechanic. Can crew vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater, just in case your commander's not on the board. Shimmermere. I mean, it crews and it lets us play. The beautiful part here is if somebody, we can at instant speed cast a vehicle and crew it, and then yeah. Now these last 5 slots are a little weird, but they are Savannah Lions, all variants. 1 mana, 2 power cards. That's what I wanted, because I want to be able to crew these vehicles cheap. Okay? Savannah Lions. Bonded Construct. Dauntless Direbark has other uses. Razorgrass Screen. Nobody ever said walls can't crew. And then the Thraben Gargoyle. So now, without further ado, let's get into our fleet, as it were. So, it's a mix of old and new. The mechs, we've got the Surge Hacker mech here. We have the Imposter mech, a Brute suit, the Mech Titan core. Because why not, right? Mobilizer mech. I think that's it for the mech suits. But Prodigy's prototype. One or more vehicles you control attack, you get a pilot. One of those. So, that's a big deal, because there's a delicate balance in vehicle decks that you got to try to get to where you want enough vehicles for that to be the theme, but then you also need enough creatures to crew the vehicles. So it's finding that sweet spot, and this card, Prodigy's prototype, really helps that out. Got a high-speed hover bike. Tap up to 1 target creature. I love that this has flash, so that you can instant speed it down on your opponent's turn before their combat and tap down their big attacker. That way, when it comes to your turn, it's no longer sick when you crew it. The Futurist Sentinel. Oh, yeah, just 6/6. Thundersteel Colossus, Trample Haste 7/7. Aerial Surveyor's got flying 3/4. I like it. Imperial Recovery Unit is one of the new ones. Return target creature or vehicle with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That if somebody kills your Shram or your Savannah Lions or any of those things, a Mir, whatever, just when it attacks, an attack trigger. I like it. Now, we're going to go back in time to some of the older vehicles. Smuggler's Copter, because, we can play it. Why not? They even put this in the pre-con. A lot of these are actually from the pre-con. We'll go through those first. The Peace Walker Colossus, Parhelion 2. My personal favorite thing in the entire Magic multiverse is the Weatherlight. I read every one of these books. I love the Weatherlight ship. I love that story. It's been lackluster in card mechanics, I feel, but I also don't think that it can be as powerful as it was in the story. It was a planeswalking ship. Yeah. So, I love it. Sky Sovereign. I mean, you know, because why not? But also wanted the Flat Wheel Cruiser. And then the Adara Express for the Maness. Now, the beautiful part about vehicle decks is your vehicles are creatures only when you want them to be. So they're not there for like global wrath effects like Martial Coup or Descend Upon the Sinful. Farewell is one of the new ones. I love this card. I'm probably going to pick up a brick just because it is so versatile. I mean, so versatile. And Exile in our format, Exile is infinitely better than Destroy. Now, there are some decks you want the destruction if you're reanimating people's graveyards or stuff like that, you know. But there are times when you want that stuff gone, and this will do it. A little bit of counter magic, not a lot, in Spell Pierce and Negate. We got Bluster Squall. Never underestimate this card. For 4 mana, to tap every creature you don't control. Wow. And the beautiful part here is changing the text. You change its text by replacing all instances of target with each. So when you do that, Hexproof and Shroud no longer matter because you're not targeting them individually, right? So it gets around the Hexproof and the Shroud. So you just tap them all, bam. And the beautiful part is, this is an instant. Depending on when you do it, you can time it to where 1 or 2 players are facing off. They have no blockers for the rest of the table to attack them. So, yeah. Fragmentize, Generous Gift, Disenchant. You know we got the Dispatch, because that's a great card. And that brings us to our non-basic lands. The non-basic lands that were in the pre-con, Skyshroud Expanse is good, Prairie Stream is good, Temple of Enlightenment, and Port Town. Those were all in the pre-con, and those were all rare. So I don't have any complaints. You know, we're not going to get shocks and fetches in pre-cons. You know, Tranquil Cove in the set proper. But then we also have, of course, the Command Tower, Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, Irrigated Farmland, Sigiria Refuge, and the Azorius Chancery. And that does it for this particular deck. I had a lot of fun playing with it, I'm sorry, playing against it. It did well. It did well. But we're going to go put this over here on the wall. Now, you'll have to forgive the room. Oh, because it's all torn up. Yeah, by the way, let's see. 869 goes on the wall. Got me a load of deck boxes in. I got 78 deck boxes from friendly local game store down in Memphis, Tennessee, the Greater Memphis Magic Arena. Those guys are awesome. They were able to source these for me. They're hard to find, especially in the quantities that I need. So I've got deck boxes down. Sleeves is what I have to address next, because I feel like that we've just begun this year. I know I've been a little slow here lately, but the deck building is still progressing. It's just getting the videos out to y'all. I've kind of been a little slow on it. Some life things going on. You know, it happens. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.